Hello everyone. So today's class is on constructors with part 1 and part 2. In part 1, we are going to understand what a constructor is, what are its characteristics, the types of constructors you have in your syllabus, the difference between a constructor and a function, and then understanding constructors through a simple program. Are you ready? Let's begin. Yes, so before I go into the theory, let me just help you recall what a function is. So for example, if you have a class, say student, and here if you declare some variables, say int a, float b, okay, let's use only two variables, and then you write public void get int a1, and here you are assigning a to this. Fine. Now this is a function. Hope you remember functions. In functions, you have access, return type, function name, parameter list, and then depending on your function, you perform the task through statements written within the function. Okay. Now let me write one constructor also. It looks like this: public student, and here you will assign the values to the instance variables. Now, if you compare a function and a constructor, can you differentiate it? See, I'll help you. The first part is access specifier. In a function, access can be public, private, protected, or you can leave it empty, which becomes a default access. Whereas in a constructor, access must be public always. Fine. That is the first difference between a function and a constructor. Coming to the second difference, the return type of a function has to be either void or any valid data type. If the method is using SOP, system.out.println, or some statements, then we keep it void. And if the function is using a return statement, then the return type will not be void, but any valid data type, depending on the value being returned. So here, if it returns A, what is the data type of A? Int. Yes, so in that case, this will be int. But right now, we are not using return. Therefore, the return type is void. The point is, in a function, return type has to be return. It will be either void or any valid data type. But in case of constructors, we do not write any return type. It has to be left empty. Coming to the third part, the name of function is any valid identifier. Whereas name of a constructor must be same as the class name. The name of constructor is same as the class name, right? And then this is parameter list. If you want to accept data through parameters, you can do it in function as well in constructors. So this is the basic difference between a function and a constructor. So in exam, they ask you to write default constructor or parameterized constructor. The two types of constructors are the default constructor, which does not accept any parameter and initializes the instance variables of the program. So in this example, this int a and float b are nothing but instance variables, the variables which are declared in a class before any function or a constructor, right? Now, yes, the other type of constructor is parameterized constructor, which initializes instance variable through parameters. Here, we are directly initializing the value depending on the data type given here. So this is an example of default constructor. Default constructor does not accept any parameter, and the left-hand side will be your instance variables declared here. And you can initialize them with any appropriate value depending on the data type used. This is default constructor. Now, similarly, you can even use a parameterized constructor. I will show it in the program. So, hope the difference between constructor and function is clear with respect to the syntax or the general format. So now let's see the basic definitions and these things. Let me clear the screen so that there is no confusion. Yes. So now let's see the definition of a constructor. A constructor is a special member function. Why do we call a function? Because it also performs a task. Hence, it is also a function. But it is special because its job is generally to initialize instance members at object creation, right? So that is constructor. Now coming to the characteristics, as you have just seen, it has same name as the class name. It has no return type. Its access specifier should be always public, and it is called at the time of object creation for initializing the instance variable, right? So this point I'll explain you in a program. Now, the three types of constructor, actually Java supports three types of constructors. Default, which does not accept any parameter. The parameterized, which accepts parameter. And the third one is copy constructor, which creates a constructor by copying another constructor directly. So in ICSE, you just have default and parameterized constructor in your syllabus. So we will just concentrate on these two and move ahead. The next thing is difference between constructor and a function. This also, I think you understood. Yes, let's see once again. A constructor's name is same as the class name, whereas a function's name is any valid identifier. Constructor has no return type, whereas a function must have return type, either void or any valid data type. The third point about access, constructor must be given public access only, whereas a constructor's access should be always public, whereas a function can be given an access public, private, protected, or default if not used. And the last one is function performs a specific task, whereas constructor is used to initialize instance variables. Okay, so that was with respect to the difference between constructor and function. Now let's understand this through a program.